Hello everyone, good evening. It's Ross here at Teacher Toolkit. Thank you for joining me. Tonight I am very excited to share some brilliant resources which are published by the Lion Academy Trust. Now, to make sure that you're in the right place, this session online, you can leave comments in the chat box. So some of you are watching through Facebook, YouTube, Twitter or LinkedIn, so all the different channels, and you can leave some comments online. So I'm just going to put a hello comment on here. I can display your question privately or publicly, display it like this so you can see my little message at the bottom here. So as we go through the session, I'm going to bring Aaron in and introduce him to you. You can pose some questions and learn more about these fantastic resources. So I'm going to give you a minute just to kind of set the scene. Let me know where you're watching from. I'll give your town, village, city, wherever you are, a shout out, or even your school. So here's a chance to get some free publicity. Other than that, let me just introduce to you what's on the screen here. So the Lion Academy Trust, let me just move myself out the way here. So the Lion Pathways curriculum developed by the Lion Academy Trust offers a comprehensive and structured curriculum tailored for schools and teachers across the English education sector. Now, I've been privy to these resources. There's thousands of digitized lessons, detailed lesson plans, assessment sheets, and pupil tracking opportunities, all developed by teachers for teachers. What's not to love about that? Its aim is to reduce teacher workload, promote pupil engagement, and provide a consistent and vocabulary-rich learning experience. And in this show and tell webinar, I'm going to discuss the inspiration behind the resources, the curriculum itself, and what its unique features are and what positive impact it is already having on a large number of schools and thousands of pupils. And I'm going to be joined by Aaron Wright. So Aaron Wright, I'm going to bring Aaron in. Aaron, good evening, Aaron. Nice to see you.
Hi, Ross.
Aaron, thanks for joining me. Can I ask, before we get started, can you just give us a little bit of information about yourself before I give a few people some shout outs? We've got quite an international audience tonight as well, but who are you?
So, hi, I'm Aaron Wright. I'm an executive head teacher in the Lion Academy Trust. I've worked for the Lion Academy Trust for about 13 years now. We started off with 3 schools. We're now at 10 schools to date, all primary or infants. And yeah, part of my role now is supporting heads of schools, very hands-on, school in Tottenham, a school in Canby Island in Essex, but also picking up some wider things trust-wide around behaviour and attitudes, personal development, and more importantly, curriculum development of the Lion learning pathways. So yeah, in a nutshell, that's what kind of keeps me busy day to day.
Right, fantastic. So I'll unpick your brains, your teacher wisdom, as well as what we've done with Lion Academy in terms of the resources. I just want to give a few shout outs so to keep our audience engaged. So we're going to show you all the resources and do a little show and tell of the resources, but let's just do a few shout outs. So I guess for context, Aaron, we've got people watching from all over the place. So Nariman here from Egypt. So resources can be used in most contexts, obviously with a bit of translation, but if we use some English acronyms, it'd be good to just explain some of those for other people. Magdalena, an independent specialist setting in Kent. Thank you for joining us. We've got Asha watching in India. Brilliant. Ishmael in Bristol. Ishmael, what school do you work in? Can you let us know, please? Udoka in Nigeria. Fantastic. I once taught in Nigeria a long time ago. Lily in California. So we're almost reaching every corner of the globe. And then we've got Andrea. Hi, Andrea. Nice to see you again, watching in Sheffield. So a wide audience, Aaron. So let's get down to business. If I just put the screen back up here, can you tell us the inspiration behind what started the Lion Academy Trust curriculum?
Yeah, so around 4 years ago, we started off with an idea, a concept. And the solution we were trying to find was how we could implement that quality and consistency of curriculum implementation, not just at our schools, but across the Lion Academy Trust, all of the 10 schools. So we got all of the specialists in the room, deputy heads, assistant heads, came up with a template for how we wanted the lessons to look: success criteria, learning intentions, talk partners, adaptations of tasks, curriculum content. And that was the template with the kind of architecture to build the resource for the children, and also how we mapped out all of the national curriculum key objectives, but more importantly, how we made sure it was sequential, how it builds on prior learning, and how it promotes those cumulative gains. So you'll see on the slide there that everyone gets access to the Lion Pathways via a web portal. And within all of those booklets there, we've covered pretty much every single curriculum subject, with the exception of MFL, PSHE. But within those booklets, it basically works as a pathway. So it tracks from the engagement model all the way up to year 6, end of key stage 2, but also references beyond key stage 2 as well. So children, in terms of that transition to secondary school, we're giving children opportunity to access some of those key stage 3 areas as well. So this is the kind of teacher's resource that Ross has put up here. And then it's ably supported by the in-class resource, which is obviously what the children get and what the children see.
Thank you, Aaron. I mean, each of those subjects there, just by key stage, I can vouch for what the things that I've seen. There's a great depth and detail to each one. But Aaron, can I just ask this question? In terms of the current challenges we have in England here, how does what you offer here support teachers and schools? And could we just keep in mind, we've got an international audience watching here. How could, if some of it, be transferable for people watching overseas?
Yeah, it can be transferred to any school, whatever scale. So currently within our schools, we've got a 6th form entry primary school using it and a 1.5 entry primary school using it. And that kind of is underpinned by the infrastructure, because everything's web-based, basically. So in terms of our colleagues in Egypt, we'd send you the login to the website portal. We'd support you with setting up the visual resources. We use a Miro platform for that. We've just come back from the Saudi Education Summit, actually. I wonder if our Egyptian colleague was there, because it can transfer into any school, in any context, in any setting. Sure. And that's where that kind of direct support from myself or colleagues comes in to make sure that it lands well for you and obviously hits the ground running. So yeah, it can be transferred internationally. And, with use of these platforms to meet virtually, we can walk you through it around making sure you get the implementation.
Sure. So what we're going to do for people watching online, regardless of what channel you're watching on, we're going to come off the slides in a moment and show you the Miro platform where all the resources are. But at least for now, Aaron, could just talk us through some of the images on the screen here in terms of what is behind the kind of login.
Yeah, so the visuals on the left of the screen, again, is the lesson planning. So this is what teachers see, this is what teachers get. So we're across all of the units, so 234 standalone units across all of the different subject areas. They're broken down into lesson by lesson plans for the teachers. So learning intentions, success criteria, heads up on the resources you need, the adapted differentiated tasks, the key vocabulary, and also those assessment questions as well. So we've been very kind of meticulous in the way that we've put the links to the prior learning in, so that the knowledge and skills build cumulatively, but also with the assessment questions that support children to be able to do more, know more, and more importantly, remember more. So that's how the pathway kind of works. So with the visual there, that I liken it to a bit of a snake, how it travels from EYFS and travels through up to year 6. You can see very clearly, you can pick out any thread and talk about how it does progress the learning and how it builds it cumulatively. So for example, year 2, introduction to electricity, looking at simple circuits, man-made appliances and things like that. And then when it gets up to year 6, looking at different variables around how we can build circuits, how we can adapt them, make predictions, and how that kind of bridges that gap around the scientific inquiry. so that the pupils can then take that learning forwards. And again, that all builds cumulatively as well. Then the teaching and learning resource, like I said, we opted with something called Miro. It's not something that's kind of well heard of. Essentially, it's a collaborative tool, like you would with a Google Sheet. Anyone can jump into it.
I've got a question here on the screen from Michael. To access the resources, it's that subscription, logging in through the Miro platform or Miro platform, and that's how they access the material, yeah?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So it can transfer. You basically get a client login to the Lion Pathways website that's got all the booklets on it. It's got all the assessment sheets on it. It's got some how-to guides on there. And then we support you with setting up a Miro account. A Miro account is free. You get an education subscription. You can have up to around 100 different logins and usernames within your platform. Then quite simply, we transfer you all of the Miro boards, and then it's a very seamless upload into your account, and then you can share them with your teaching staff or your colleagues at school.
Okay, so I think what we'll do, let's come off the slides and let's show everybody your screen, Aaron.
Okay.
We'll get people, you just walk through the Miro platform and just give us a whistle-stop tour, and then we'll ask some more punchy questions like costs, how many people are currently using it, what difference does it have on people outcomes, and those kind of things. So just a reminder to everybody, pose your questions in your chat box, whatever platform you're watching. I'll work through them on the screen and I'll pick Aaron's brain. So Aaron, over to you. Let me move that question and swap my slides. Your screen should be on now. So walk us through the platform. So your screen's up there.
So this is the resource that's shared with the children in class. So I just go to my Miro login via Google. I've got a template account where all of the boards are stored centrally. So then I just quite simply log into this, and this is my landing page within Miro, and it basically works as a search engine. So whichever subject I want to access, whichever year group, whichever term for the half-termly units, I just type it in here. So for example, year 3, autumn 1, which is what the year 3s are doing at the moment. Let's look at history, and then it just pops them all up with the space bar. And there's my board here. I simply click on that, and then the program of study, the resources, the units, they come up here like this. So what you've got within all of these boards, again, is the consistency. So you've got the preamble for the teachers so that they know what the focus is in this context, ancient Greece. A bit of prep to do before the lesson, so making sure that teachers can understand what had been learned previously in year 2, as an example. We have exciting entry points to hook the children in and engage them. A lot of the times we're using Google Expeditions for this. The TTYP stands for Turn to Your Talk Partner. So we want to have a lot of active learning. So across all of the lessons, gosh, there's I think there's around 8,000 talk partner questions. And then you've got the history timeline there, again, to support making the learning clear for the children. The pathways here, how it builds sequentially. We've also mapped out all of the cultural capital gains across each year group. So where you go, who you meet, significant events, significant figures. And then I'll just squeeze out of that a little bit. And yeah, so you've got the...
Now, Aaron, can I ask some kind of technical, perhaps teacher questions? Because I've got 1 or 2 coming through the chat box, but leave your screen on for now. I guess the first thing, I have this loaded up on my computer in my classroom. It's connected to my whiteboard. How easy is it for me to display this? Or is it literally just what I see is what I present?
Sure, it is literally that case. So they're all, the lessons are done on a linear format. So you've got the 6 lessons here. And then essentially it's just like with any smart board, you can just, pinch it in, zoom in, and then you just go across on a linear way to access all of the learning. So like I said, you've got the previous links to learning here. then goes into the learning intentions, success criteria.
Right.
Again, it's really supporting the children to remember what they've learned before and how we build on that sequentially and cumulatively. All of the lessons have 3 to 4 keywords.
Right.
I think across the whole thing, there's around 6,000. Then again, we're making explicit links to the learning intentions, talk partners, making sure that new language and vocabulary is a golden thread throughout. We update all of the web links, all of the different videos that support it.
I've got a few more questions for you then. One, this is a great starting point, perfect for teacher workload. Can I edit what you give to me here and add my own video links and those kind of things?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Fantastic.
That's kind of the Miro. It does work very much like a PowerPoint. So I can go into this. I can double click on the text. I can add pictures.
Super easy. I've got a couple of questions from Annabelle's asked a question here. Are there resources for SEN students in FE? So I suspect not, but you tell me otherwise.
So, well, yes, they are. How these templates are formatted is that you've got a task A, B, and C here. So task B is set at an expected standard. Let me get one that actually says tasks on. There you go. So task B, yeah, go on.
So, Annabelle's questions for students in further education. So I guess with a bit of tweaking in translation, you know, teacher wisdom, Annabelle could potentially swap them to suit her abilities. So again, it's a good starting point what you're given here.
Yeah, 100%. So a task A is set at child working at greater depth. Task B is set at expected standard. Task C is set at working towards that standard. But when we get to the client login, I can show you how you can adapt this as far back to engagement model. We've built our own what we call S scales. For those that have been teaching as long as I have, they're the what were the P scales.
Yes.
But we've developed those that bridges the gap from end of EYFS into Key Stage 1 as well. And that's where the pathways are really effective so that you can get the right ambitious pitch and challenge level for all pupils working within engagement model to upper Key Stage 2.
So can I ask you to zoom out, Aaron, a little bit and let you know, we see that snake again, which is basically it's presented in this linear format, but the kind of snake analogy that you're going from the top left to the kind of bottom right of the sequence. I've got a question on the screen from Andrew who said, can I download the plans as a PDF format? Again,
so you can't download them as a PDF, but once you're in your client login, everyone gets a login to this platform where you've got all of the different subjects. You can download this visual as a PDF. Should you wish to then, upload it. For example, we've got a school that's on board that doesn't have the touchscreen TVs, but they are able to use it and navigate it by, zooming in and out, and also as a fail-safe. If the internet for whatever reason decides to not work, you can have the backup as a PDF so that you can still continue the teaching and learning. And in the client login here, this is where you basically just log in. You can open it up to full screen, and you can go to navigate to your different year groups as you wish, or go back to the start. You can go to all your half-termly plans, the pathways, the progression overview to make sure that we've covered the national curriculum. And again, just picking up on the colleagues' comments. So this is how we've bridged the gap from end of EYFS to Key Stage 1. So for those children working at pre-Key Stage or not accessing the Key Stage 1 curriculum, they can still access the science units and lessons, and then really just adapt it to meet the needs of their children.
Technical for our international colleagues, could we just identify Key Stage 1 for us, Aaron? Thank you.
Yeah, Key Stage 1, also known as, or is it? It's not kindergarten, is it? Key Stage 1 is basically 5 years old to 7 years old. Key Stage 2, 8 years old to 11 years old.
Right, brilliant. Let me take you off the screen. So some brilliant resources. We'll pop back to some more demos in a minute. So everyone, please start sharing some questions now. and then we'll come back to the platform, go into the technical kind of questions and answers, because they can be headaches, and we'll reassure you that you can translate and tweak the documents to suit your own context. Let's just go through a few more screen previews. Let's start off with these headline numbers. So how many schools using it at the moment, Aaron?
So obviously we've got our 10 schools across the trust, and we've got another 6 schools that have subscribed to it. We've only kind of been live with the commercial side for about 2 years now. So
still early days, and post-pandemic and those kind of headaches. But the numbers here are on the screen, the amount of lessons and units and activities, and you've mentioned the several thousand, questions and all those kind of things inside. Incredible numbers considering just a couple of years. I've got this slide here, which is your snake analogy. Hang on, I've lost the screen here. I'm going to have to reload, such as the life of the internet. Here we go. Let's try again. No, I'm going to leave that one there. I'm going to leave it like this preview. Hopefully you can see that. So we've got the sequence pathway here, a screenshot from science. So this is included in every subject, is it?
Yeah, this is mapped out for all of the subjects. We've mapped it from early years foundation stage 3 to 4s, and then year 1 to 6. But where we've mapped it is how we've put in all of the links to previous learning. So we update and refresh the curriculum every year, checking for cultural capital, talk partners, website links, things like that. We updated 160 links to previous learning for this year's Miro boards and lesson planning, as an example. And that's what supports being able to track forwards, track backwards, to make sure it's ambitious for all, but also how it kind of safeguards that pupils aren't repeating work unnecessarily.
So I guess we'll do, there's a multi-pronged approach here. Your due diligence, you're kind of safeguarding the students, you're delivering of good outcomes, meeting national curriculum obligations. But I guess what my point is, the depth and breadth and detail here is a really good starting point for people that haven't got anything, or people that have already got an established curriculum but are needing some extra bolt-ons that they can probably use online or have access to in classrooms.
Yeah, so that's essentially what it's there for. We just want to get it out there because we know it works for our children, and we've seen a lot of impact for our schools locally. We've had testimonials that have commented how seamless it is to implement. We just want to share it. Obviously, it's an ambitious curriculum. The intent is there. That's withstood the highest scrutiny. It's been validated. And then it's really how we work with schools to get the implementation of it across.
Now, I'll just pop to this slide where we're talking about adaptive teaching, how we translate things for different contexts. I've got another FE question here. So clearly we're very interested in the FE sector here. So Anne-Marie's asked, what age group is this product pitched for? So we're talking about primary, early years to year 6.
Yeah.
But again, could we reiterate how someone in FE might have a login and be able to tweak the resources to suit level 3? Is that possible?
Yeah, I think so. It is very much pitched at the national curriculum, EYFS, early years foundation stage, key stage 1 and 2 curriculum. However, what you would find is that there's a lot of links to what that curriculum looks like, for older children. But that would probably be a catch-up conversation that we'd have to discuss around what your needs are as a school and how this curriculum could support you with that. And
in terms of the assessment side, so curriculum needs some form of assessment. How does the Line Pathways curriculum approach pupil assessment and tracking? So for here, at least for people watching internationally, in an English context and in a primary context, I've got this screen here, Aaron, the year 4 working scientifically. Tell us a bit about this resource first, and we'll answer the question in a moment.
Sure. So with every single unit, you've got a half-term assessment sheet that supports the children. So I'm talking about the one to the right at the moment. That's a splash page that goes in their book, and then that gives them a kind of a heads up on what we're going to learn within that unit. And then there's self-assessment, peer assessment, and teacher assessment within that. So how we've built that is for every lesson, the pupils can self-assess whether they understood the learning and could do their work independently, as in an expected standard. They needed some support to access that learning intention and achieve the success criteria, which would be around working towards, or the greater depth kind of elements where they can explain their learning to others, work with others. And then at the end of the unit, there'd be teacher conferencing sessions where pupils would sit down with their work. And it's really for the teacher to then kind of enable the pupils to show where they've met their learning by going back through their sequences of work. We didn't want to opt for those kind of quizzes that you sometimes hear where, you know, a 8-year-old could do the same quiz every day that week and get a different outcome. This is more tangible. It gives pupils the ownership to demonstrate in their work where they've achieved that learning intention and success criteria.
Sure. So there, you've answered the assessment question. How does it underpin everything? I'm going to put you on the spot, Aaron. Can you log back into Miro and show us how to find one of these? I might say in 30 seconds. Let's see how we get on.
So where you would find them is in the client login.
Yes.
So Pathways in Action, that's the handbook for science that we shared. And then you quite simply just download the assessment sheets. Again, you've got handbooks, you've got pre-key stage standards, you've got all of the cultural capital visuals. So then I'd just drag that onto my desktop here.
Yeah.
Then I'd quite simply open that, and then that would come up as a folder here. And then I've got all of my assessment sheets.
Brilliant.
For stage 2 here. And then you just print them off, splash pages in the children's books, and you're ready to go.
I think that was less than 30 seconds when you got that download. So that's a record. So perfect for teacher workload. So let's switch the workload then. Give me some examples of how this has positively made a difference to a school or to a teacher. What kind of stories are you hearing?
Just how it reduces workload around the foundation subjects, the core lessons of science, computing, and it gives the teachers more time to concentrate on the core planning around the reading, writing, and maths, because the resource is already there, and it's just giving those teachers that bit of time towards the end of a half term, so that what we do is we have like planning CPD, where they're given all of the new boards to go through and bespoke, update. Maybe some of the tasks might not be as suitable for their class. Maybe they need to do some further adaptation for pupils working at a different key stage level or pre-key stage. But what's cool about it is that it's already there for them. It's already curated. It's already digitally prepared for the children. That they just need to give it a tweak and bespoke so that it meets the needs, for their class specifically. Sure. And at PPA, it frees up a lot more time so that they can concentrate on getting that precision use of assessment, especially for the reading, writing, and maths that typically takes place in the mornings.
So that's a good analogy of some of the great stories we're hearing from teachers for workload. I'm going to come to a question in a moment about how they can adapt it to promote literacy or for an individual student needs. But before I do, can you give me an example of what difference it's made to a school community if every teacher across the school is using the platform?
Yeah. Well, I suppose for our Lion Trust, the proof's in the numbers. So from taking on, special measures schools, requires improvement schools with a legacy of underperformance. Last year, our combined end of year 6 attainment was 20% above national. So because of all of these resources, opportunities for communication, language, speaking and listening, the writing opportunities, the sort of greater depth opportunities around debating, reading different sources in history. It's a golden thread throughout the curriculum with really high quality, tangible outcomes by the children. And, even some kind of soft data around our mobility of staff, it's extremely low. Staff well-being, staff surveys, feedback. It's a really, really useful, in fact, fantastically useful resource for the teachers. Similarly with other clients that we've onboarded as well, just around, they'd definitely recommend it to others for a number of reasons around testimonials that we've had.
So I've got your screen on the broadcast again. If we zoom in on maybe something specific, so let's just say developing pupils' vocabulary. Could you just remind us how we might find this specific topic in each lesson, or by week, or by subject?
Yeah, so all of the key vocabularies in the lesson plans, again, this is what the teachers see. So it's all made explicit here with the definitions as well. But where we've taken that a step further, on all of the Miro boards, every single lesson has an explicit key vocabulary focus. So yes, we've given the words, the definitions, but also the visuals there to support putting it in context. And across each slide, key vocabulary is a regular feature. So it's not just shared at the beginning and do your best to remember it. The key vocabulary is explicit on every single slide to keep kind of referring back to AFL, tell the person next to you what perspective means, and so on and so forth. So yeah, it really is a strong
question here from Anne-Marie, thank you, Anne-Marie, for your questions. This is excellent for our core subjects, but what about vocational? So any suggestions for vocational subjects, kind of vocational pathways? Is that included in what you offer?
I'm not sure. Sorry, what do we mean by vocational? Sorry.
So I wait for Anne-Marie to just pose some clarification. So I guess in an FE context, it could mean maybe vocational type subjects, such as your technical qualifications, or dare I say, maybe in primary, it might be things you might do in tutor time or assembly time. But I'll wait for Anne-Marie to clarify her context. But other than your core subjects, could you just remind people of all the different subjects available, and we'll see if that might help?
Yeah, so it's here on the landing page. So we've mapped out the maths pathways, reading, writing, but we haven't formulated the Miro boards for that, because schools there's more autonomy for schools, and we don't want to take that away with their approach. But nonetheless, we've mapped that out with the key performance indicators term by term. The art, computing, design, technology, geography, history, music, science, that's all digitally created as a starting point for to just take it straight off and implement it, or for teachers to adapt it to their needs of their class. The PE's mapped out as well. We've got additional handbooks in here: early years, CPD, pre-key stage 1 standards, the cultural capital, spellings. So there's a comprehensive suite of resources there. How it could be adapted to vocational studies would probably be something that I'd need to have a chat to the colleague with. We haven't really designed it for that, primarily as it's kind of from the age of 3 to the age of 11, but also covering key stage 3 elements. But again, we could pick up a conversation to see how we could make it work.
Yeah, well, I've got Anne-Marie here who's clarified. So music, art, hospitality, cadet force, horticulture, construction, etc. Those kind of
music and art, yes. The other ones we haven't planned that far.
Okay, so we have to remember, everyone. So thanks for all your excitement and interest. So a couple of years in, 15, 20 schools, a large number of teachers already using the resources. There's plans in place. Obviously, this is getting developed all the time, Aaron, isn't it?
Yeah, so I suppose just to give a summary of the work last year. So we do this in the summer term, where we review every single lesson, and are there any additional areas that we can finesse? Do all of the website links work, and are they the best ones that you can have? Are the tasks adapted? Big focus on plenaries, assessment questions for this round, which you'll see there. So we're always making the enhancements, the additions. I think year 1, learning about the monarchy. Obviously, we had some changes around that last year, so we've updated that to reflect the new changes. Similarly with significant figures, government and things like that, we're kind of changing that a bit more than we'd like at the minute, but nonetheless, we make sure we refresh them and then we push them out to all of the schools to then upload to their Miro accounts. And then,
so I've got a lovely comment from Anne-Marie. Well, it'll be much better than we currently have. So it's good to see.
So we can catch up and have a chat. Yeah.
Yeah. So let us know. I'll leave contact details in the chat box in a moment. So a couple more questions. So people watching live, throw your questions in. I've got Aaron for another 10 or 15 minutes, and we'll keep playing, demonstrating some things on the screen here. But Aaron, question I've got here. So a school signs up, 1 or 6 or 12 teachers have access to the platform. What kind of onboarding stroke inductions available, teacher training, that kind of help to get people up to speed? What do you do?
So we've got a step-by-step guide with creating your Miro account. As I said, it's pretty seamless and it's free. Once you've got that in place, I can then transfer the boards into your Miro account. Again, I just do that via WeTransfer. And then what we advise is a couple of days support by myself. That does come at a slight additional cost. But nonetheless, that's where I can meet with your leaders, talk about the sequencing, how it makes cumulative gains. I can do inset professional development with your staff. I've actually got one tomorrow in Northants where I talk them through and walk them through what it is, what it does, how to use it, how you can adapt it, how you use the assessment are pretty much the kind of like key things that leaders are asking me to cover with their wider teams.
Sure.
We can also give you, so the school I'm visiting tomorrow, they've already got their client login. They're trialing it with a couple of subjects in a couple of year groups for a whole school rollout after half term. So we can always give you access to it. If you're thinking of your change management, we'll give you access. You can get some of your leaders to become the experts in the room by using it before it goes wholesale rollout. And then I can support you with that, because ultimately we want it to land well in all of the schools as much as the schools do as well. That's, very important to us. That
so loads of technical support. I've got one more technical question from Anne-Marie. Very keen and excited. The question is, I guess it's my own understanding of VR headsets, but can these resources be used with VR?
Yeah, VR is well, the VR headsets, you wouldn't be able to actually access the Miros, but where the VR comes in is predominantly around the exit points and the entry points. So as much as we can't travel to the Sahara Desert, well, one colleague might, but as much as we can't travel there, we can use the the VR platforms to take us there as a visual, so we can see it and have a look around and explore it. So it's used to kind of further bring the learning to life. Similarly, how it's used with educational visits as well.
And I think you have clarified this one, but just in case Andrew missed it, does every teacher have their own Miro board, or is there a central one for all the school to access?
So it's done centrally for all of the schools to access, but where leaders can make sure that they're safeguarded, they've got the ownership of it, I can quite seamlessly, for example, I've opened a year 5 board here, then I can then just share that with my year 5 teacher, and then that will pop up in their own account.
Right, brilliant. So I hope that question clarified, Andrew. Please let us know if you have any more. So I'm going to move on to another question, which is the cost. So I've got my screen here, which I'll display. Now, before I put this screen up, in fact, let me put it up now because we've got a little video walk going on here. I see a lot of resources in my life as an education blogger, and I work with many clients, and I can guarantee that what Aaron and the Lion Academy Trust here are offering in terms of, maybe it's a message you should charge more, Aaron, but it's exceptionally good value in terms of the product and making your working life a little bit easier and giving you an enormous amount of resources to use. So Aaron, just talk us through these 3 tiers.
Yeah, so again, we just want to get it out there and share it to impact more children. It's as simple as that, and that's reflected in these costings that we've got here. So you could subscribe to a particular subject, £395. per subject. If you're just a infant school, so if you don't go from the age of 5 to 11, you just go from the age of 5 to 7, or from the age of 8 to 11, you can subscribe to it as a key stage for £1,100, or you can get the whole thing for less than £2,000. So that's the login to the client platform with all the handbooks, and also the access to all the Miro visual resources that I share with you into your account.
So these fees they're an annual license, aren't they? I can see.
Yeah, they're done on an annual license, and like I say, with all of the updates we do each year, we're transparent with what we've done, what we've been working on. For example, for this year, we really wanted to incorporate fundamental British values into our history units, and really wanted to update and finesse the assessment questions, plenary type questions, as an example. So yeah, it's an annual subscription, but like I say, if you were looking to perhaps roll it out in January or October half term, we make sure it lands well by giving you access, and then that kind of year would start from when you've rolled it out, basically.
So, I want to break this down for people. So it is an annual fee. So if we just look at a subject here, if you buy into maths at 395, even if you work in the smallest primary school, so just a one form entry, 6-7 year groups, that's coming in at about £180, so £2 per child. It's still at exceptional value to give loads of resources. And let's not forget, when we buy into these great ideas, you're paying for the technical support, the research and development of new ideas, the seamless links between all the EdTech software into your classroom. And I guess people like Aaron and his team around him who help develop more resources. And let me just give you that reminder, designed by teachers for teachers. And you get a lot of stuff out there that are designed not by teachers, who kind of maybe hit the ground running or not. And I think this is a really good value for money. So last opportunities for questions, everybody in the chat box. Anything we've not covered, anything we have not clarified on your behalf, I'm going to put this one up on the screen, Aaron, for you to work through one or two of your key messages here in terms of what benefits it's going to have for the teacher, the school, the kind of wider community.
Yeah, so again, designed by teachers for teachers, but ultimately to impact standards of teaching and learning and pupils' attainment in the classroom. So we've incorporated all of the different scaffolds for the learning with the different tasks, how you can adapt the pathways for whatever level that child is working at. All of the intent is there for the sequencing of the learning so that pupils aren't repeating work unnecessarily, and it's tailored how we've adapted those different lessons. You've got 3 layers of adaptation, but you can adapt it, to meet the needs of your class quite seamlessly. Mm-hmm. Again, because of the sort of advanced starting point with it, yes, you've got the lesson plans, but more importantly, you've got the resources that the children see. So there's no kind of having to build anything there from scratch. It's just a light tweak. Even if you need to, just to adapt it, or you can adapt it if you want to put more innovation to it. It's your resource as a starting point. Again, for the early career stage teachers, or formerly known as newly qualified teachers, they've got a lot to get their heads around, in the first half term with systems, processes, their classes and what have you. This takes away a massive chunk of the time that they'd need to put in to planning, preparing and resourcing all of those different subject areas. And again, like I say, as a result of the time that it saves, it gives more effective deployment of resources for pre-PPA, PPA, less need for cover, but also if you do have cover, they can just pick it up and work to the linear sequencing of the planning. And really, it gives the teachers that chance to really concentrate on that use of assessment to promote that rapid progression, reading, writing, and maths, especially with the numbers that we got, as a result of the Lion Trust schools having implemented it 3-4 years. Combined attainment end of year 6 was 20% above national this year, which obviously we're very proud of.
Yeah, quite rightly. So I'm going to leave on the screen here, everyone, my email address should we not answer all your questions in this session, or you're watching this later and you forgot how to get in touch, or you've had a question that you didn't pose on time, because there'll be many people watching this after we stop the live stream. I've got a few more questions from people watching. I'm going to just hang on to them for a moment. If I just whiz through the slides, Aaron, can I just ask you this kind of last question, I suppose? What are your plans to develop the resources further? You know, when do you review them? When do you update them? What are your kind of plans behind the scenes?
So we review them termly. So we take feedback from the teachers around how the curriculum implementation's gone, how the delivery's gone, any comments on how we could further update, finesse the tasks. Then we have a big central team that goes through every single lesson, every single slide, checking everything works, checking everything's still fit for purpose. We still are continuing to make the cultural capital gains, the updates of where we go and who we meet. We've updated the design and technology pathways booklet so that it's got all of the lesson plans, resources as a one-stop shop. Similarly with music, that was more of a, you know, we've kind of been evolving that over the past 18 months, but putting all the links to the previous learning in there, aligning the handbooks as well. And then really just staying up to date with what's current. Like I said, last year, big focus on fundamental British values, and always updating those previous links, taking feedback on the assessment sheets, updating those as well. So yeah, it kind of is evolving as we go, but it's always based on feedback.
Great. So give us one more preview of your Miro board on your screen, just for one last opportunity for everyone to see what it looks like. Here we go, everyone.
Okay, so perhaps if we look at a science one, because science is obviously the knowledge as elements, but also the working scientifically skills as well. So these ones are twice the size. So you've got 12 lessons there, but they all follow the same format with the entry points to hook the children in. So again, let's go and have a look at the solar system, the night sky with some class VR if you've got it, the resources you need. So these ones are kind of twinned around where you've got the knowledge gains here, but the working scientifically gains as well. The previous links in. So again, we've got all the working scientifically skills. We've got all the knowledge-based curriculum here. And it just, you know, they're all formatted exactly the same. So you've got all of your key vocabulary, then into the actual content, talk partners, and then into the tasks and how, you know, sometimes, and that's one of the things we're also working on, is evolving so that we've got a task D for children working below that national curriculum level. Again, the plenaries, the assessment questions, the recap of the learning. Let's fill out our assessment sheets. And then some lessons have got the actual activity sheets there to further support. So very uniform, very consistent across all of the different subjects. And it's really a case of the teacher just having access to it and then basically implementing it as you would on a linear scale.
Yeah. So it looks like a, you know, probably an understatement, but a phenomenal piece of work, really. All in one place, every year group, every subject across the entire year. That takes a long time. Can I ask how long it's taken you to get to this point?
It evolves, so we never take our eye off it. We never let it stand still and sort of collect dust, so to say. So we're continuing to finesse it, continuing to review it. I think every refresh that we do annually, probably across everything, probably takes about 100 hours. But again, we split that up with our leaders, deputy heads, subject specialists, subject experts. So yeah, the initial kind of building of it obviously took a lot longer, but now we've got the kind of blueprint for it. It's really just around doing fewer things better with it, Ross, I think is a good way of putting it.
So I'm going to leave on my screen just these annual costs again, and Aaron, if you can just give me a shout out for your contact email address, I'll try and put this in the chat box.
Yeah, so just get in touch, aaron@lionacademytrust.net.
Okay.
Aaron, if you want to find out more, I can do some demos, to your wider teams, if that's what you'd like. Catch up for any other questions. The joy of virtual meetings. Obviously, I'm not going to nip to Egypt to see my colleague, or the States or Africa, or all these lovely places that our colleagues are from. Aaron@lionacademytrust.net. And we can arrange to, have a follow-up call. I can show you in a bit more detail, or catch up with your wider teams.
Okay. So to Lily in California, I hope you're still watching. Any questions in the chat box. To Udoka in Nigeria, I did teach in Kano in the north one time in my career, so it's nice for you to join us. To Ishmael in Bristol, any questions, let me know. Asha in India, as we've gone through, these resources are transferable. Nariman in Egypt. I think we have got someone that joined us in the middle. I think Qumran from is Kingdom of Saudi Arabia here. We've got a couple of questions from Lily here. Is it White Rose? I can't remember at what point that question was shared, but I don't think it is, just to clarify for you. And then Mercy from Kenya, Jocelyn in the US, and even Brazil. Fantastic. So people from everywhere. Plus, I hope, Andrew, you're still watching in Sheffield. And I think Magdalena had one last question. Let me just dig it out. I'm not sure if we've answered this. Are there any resources to develop independent liver skills? So we did try to talk about one or two kind of things that could be used in vocational subjects when Anne-Marie posed the question. So I hope, unless there's anything I've missed, Aaron, or not mentioned, I think that would be the answer.
It's a golden. I can pinpoint examples for you as how those things come up in the geography curriculum, but it'd probably be more of a conversation around how the what's known as the SMSC, so the social, moral, cultural, and the other one is social, moral, cultural, and spiritual development is a golden thread. So in the booklets, Ross, I don't know if I can share my screen really quickly.
Yeah, here we go.
When you go to the Pathways login, we've developed all of the social, moral, spiritual, and cultural elements across all of the subject areas. So again, it would really be having a look at this, to support your teachers in and your pupils around. We've mapped out the provision.
So it's threaded through.
Absolute golden thread across the whole thing. Yeah.
Brilliant. So last chance for questions. I can see we've just got a nice message from Zachariah from Niger. So incredible. So a real global audience, Aaron. So for people watching wherever you are, and just for context and summary, we are looking at the Lion Academy's pathway curriculum. Here's a sneak preview just for the end of the recording if you've missed the start. So once I end this recording, you'll be able to watch it back immediately on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We're going to send out these resources and communications to people that signed up for the event. So if you didn't sign up through Eventbrite, then do get in touch. Here's my email one last time if you don't want to miss out on any key information. Aaron's gone through all the different subjects. There's lots in development. And, in the grand scheme of things, Aaron's getting some great outcomes across his school trust. There's some fantastic resources at an unbelievable bargain. So I don't think there's much not to like. Aaron, is there anything else I have missed?
No, I don't think so, Ross. No, I think.
So what we're going to do, just as a follow-up, so maybe just either side of half term, possibly after half term, we're going to do a follow-up session with a school who uses the resources, and you can see and hear from people that are using the resources on the ground. Other than that, this is your last call for any questions. Here it is one last time if you don't have time. So Ross at teachertoolkit.co.uk. And Aaron, remind us of your email address, please.
Aaron@lionacademytrust.net.
Brilliant. And now we've got some thank yous coming in, and Anne-Marie just asked for the email there. So you probably hear from Anne-Marie. I hope that helps. Anne-Marie, let's just remind myself here. I think you're working in the youth offenders context. So what a great opportunity to support young people in another context. That's great news. So Madeleine, thank you. Aaron, Andrew, thank you. And I guess the star of the show is Aaron. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to share your brilliant resources. I look forward to learning a little bit more and getting one or two skills to showcase what they're doing.
Cool.
Other than that, everybody, my name's Ross. He's Aaron. Thank you for your time and attention. Have a lovely evening, and we hope to see you again in the future. I'll ping all the slides and some links to you in the Eventbrite ticket page. Other than that, Aaron, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Take care, guys.
Okay, so just that reminder, everyone, I'll send through all the resources, all the links, all the email addresses through Eventbrite. This is your one last reminder. If you haven't signed up for that, then please email me on this link and I will send it to you all, just in case you missed the original ticket link. Other than that, I am ending proceedings now, and I'll see you online in the future. Bye.